Okay, guys, let's talk about combat shirts for a minute, and more specifically, not just combat shirts, but combat shirts and preparedness and prepared citizen. Let's keep it in that context for this discussion. Um, a lot of folks we've seen tend to somewhat dismiss having a combat shirt in their preps with their clothing and equipment. Um, Let me just pause right there before we even get into this. For any of you that are watching and may not know what a combat shirt is, a combat shirt is basically a long sleeve shirt in whatever camo pattern or solid color that you want, with a soft, usually like a moisture wicking or breathable type material for the body on the front and back. What they're primarily made for is use in hotter weather, especially when we're in body armor and that sort of thing. It gives you protection on your arms and camouflage on your arms, but it lets your core breathe a little bit better when you've got all that armor and extra equipment and stuff on, again, primarily in hotter weather. So that said, a lot of guys will say, oh, well, John, I'm not planning on using body armor out here running through the woods. Valid point. Or I'd rather wear a regular BDU top because it's just tougher and it's not going to snag and tip and rip and tear as easy as what most combat shirt bodies will, that sort of thing. Okay, you may have a point there. Something that we've agreed with in the past. There are various and sundry other reasons why people may not want a combat shirt in part of their clothing lineup. We've given it a lot of thought over the last few years, and honestly, we've kind of come 180 on the idea. Used to not really think it was worth bothering with, but now we've kind of come back around, and I just wanted to point out why. And then in addition to pointing out why, show you some different options and what's going on. One of the things that combat shirt is going to give you is, in hotter weather, the better cooling effect, okay? By the time you get your chest rig on, even if you're not running a plate carrier, chest rig, belt rig, a backpack, all that other good stuff, you're going to have a lot of the body covered up in one way or another. So you help eliminate one complaint. Most combat shirts have a solid color body, and guys, well, I don't want that big solid color on my torso. It highlights my torso. Well, by the time you get your chest rig and all that other stuff on, and you get out there in the bush, there's not a big solid color right here, okay? It's all broke up, mostly covered up, etc. So we can eliminate that in all reality as being a big concern. As far as it snagging, yeah, it may snag a little bit, but again, you're going to have a lot of it covered up with other gear and stuff if you're doing it right. So while it may be a concern, it may not be that big of a concern, I think the chances of it getting snagged and torn real easy are probably more offset by being able to stay cool better. Because if you're up really doing this stuff, and things have gone south, then you're going to be doing a lot of manual labor, not just in security purposes, but just manual work around your retreat house, whatever. So having something that you can work in the summertime that's going to help keep you cooler, but yet still protect your arms from sunburn, bug bites, scrapes and scratches that right now aren't a big deal, but could get infected and kill you in a catastrophic situation. And we think those are kind of good things, especially when you start talking about heat stroke. That's one thing we've talked with our doc about for our crew. Heat stroke and heat exhaustion is going to be a very important thing when we're all doing a lot of manual labor that a lot of people aren't necessarily always used to doing. You've also got the fact of getting out here doing the security side of it. By the time you get all your gear and everything on and get out here in the middle of summertime and it's 100 degrees with 90% humidity, you can start getting warm real quick. A lot of sweating going on. So anything that's going to help you cool off better and reduce the likelihood of you overheating, that's got to be looked at as a benefit. So then people will come up and say, well, that's a real narrow focus just for the summertime. I can't use it in the wintertime, whereas a regular BDU top or something I can use in the summer, use in the winter, whatever. Well, let me throw this argument out there for you. You can run these in the wintertime. There's a couple of ways you can do that. Number one, you can use your long sleeve base layers like your level 1, level 2, whatever, underneath this, or you can actually run it over top of this, which gives you a thinner base layer underneath to better let you regulate your temperature as you add and subtract layers over top of this for when you're up moving versus when you're stationary, etc. And it's real easy, just as an example, to simply throw your jacket on over this, do what you got to do, okay, and then if you start getting hot, you can shed a layer, because even in the wintertime, if you're doing a lot of exertion, you can get hot. You don't want to start sweating if you can help it. It lets you add and subtract and regulate that core temperature a little bit easier using a combat shirt. Now, obviously, in a lot of weather, you're going to want to run a regular BDU top just because the weather is going to dictate it. But when you can, this is just another option. Now, there is one option on that, and I'll get into a little bit more later, but TruSpec has come out with one of their combat shirts that actually has what's the equivalent of like a level 2 grid fleece as the body on it. So you're getting your grid fleece. It's a winter combat shirt that they've in essence made. So you're getting your grid fleece in there for winter time, and there's your warmth. My only caveat with that one would be make sure you're using it when it's really cold enough to use it, because that grid fleece is really efficient and it will warm you up really fast. It can be somewhat easy to overheat in a grid fleece if you're doing a lot of exertion. So if your temperatures are kind of moderate, if they're getting down, cold in the mornings and evenings, but getting up a little bit warmer during the day, you might want to go with just a regular combat shirt and a separate level 1 or level 2 base layer like the grid fleece that you can take on and off. If your temperatures are going to stay down low, the grid fleece combat shirt that TruSpec does makes a lot of sense, okay? So moving on with that, you can see you can just throw your jacket on over this. I can throw my gear and everything on right over this, do what I need to do. I start heating up. I can stop, take my jacket off, stow it away in your backpack, and then you're still good to go. So all that said, I'm sure there's something that I'm overlooking. If you guys have got questions or thoughts or concerns or whatever, I'll put the link up in the bottom of the description here to our forum where we can discuss and talk about it. Please feel free to come register. And throw out your thoughts. Let's talk about it. So moving on, let's talk about the different kinds of combat shirts. The one that I've got on right now is an actual GI issue combat shirt made by Massive. It's got pocket on this shoulder with a zipper over here. You've got some reinforcements on the elbows right here, and then you've got just a typical Velcro on the cuff if you need to close it up a little bit. On the other side, you've got another zippered pocket on this shoulder. Same thing, elbow reinforcement, Velcro. The shoulders come up all the way to the neck right here, and then the same material goes down the side, and then you've got the softer material on the front and back. This one also has a kind of like a mock turtleneck to it. And what that does is gives you a little bit of protection around your neck. It's real nice to keep your sling from your rifle from chafing on you, or your shoulder pads on your body armor, or backpack straps, or whatever. It just gives you a little bit of protection on your neck right there, but it's really thin. It doesn't hold a lot of heat at all. Now, one thing I failed to mention earlier, it's a little cool out here today, but it's not cold, especially moving around doing stuff. It's not cold by any stretch, but it's just a little bit too chilly for just a combat shirt. So what I like to do is underneath, I'll just run my regular short sleeve base layer t-shirt, just like if you were wearing a t-shirt underneath a dress shirt or something like that. Same concept. Just try to make sure that you use an actual wicking base layer shirt and not 100% cotton. There's a ton of different ones out there, either 50-50 polyester cotton, nylon, 100% polyester, whatever. Look for something along those lines to use as your base layer shirts. We've talked about that before. Don't need to rehash all that out for you and bore you again. The Massive GI combat shirts are fire resistant, okay? Now, keep in mind when we say fire resistant, it doesn't mean they won't burn. What it means is it's much harder to ignite them, and when they do ignite, they don't flame up and melt and drip and run everywhere. They'll more kind of char in place and kind of turn to ash, which is a good thing. Not that flash fires and such, like from IEDs, like what military would face, is that big of a concern for us. But should you find yourself in a situation where fire is a concern, it won't melt to your skin and cause really, really bad problems for you. So that said, this is the GI Massive one, obviously in multicam or OCP. I'll show you a couple of other ones real quick, just to kind of give you a little thought. Personally, we've looked at some different ones, we've tried some different ones, and we've kind of come to a conclusion for our use and purposes. We really like the GI ones and the ones from Tru-Spec. And I want to show you why. The ones from Tru-Spec, which is what I'm holding right here, this is their quarter zip combat shirt. Now, Tru-Spec offers 3 different kind of combat shirts. They've got one that's a mock turtleneck, just like the GI one. They've got this one, which is their regular TRU combat shirt. That's a quarter zip. And then they've got another one that's their TRU Extreme, which is a quarter zip, and it's got some more features that the regular standard TRU doesn't have. Personally, I like their standard mock combat shirt and the regular TRU quarter zip. I think for the money, they're probably the best value. But if the TRU Extreme one has got features on it that you find beneficial or useful, hey, run with it. The nice thing about the Tru-Spec ones is the sleeves on them are kind of like standard ACU type sleeves. Again, this is the quarter zip. You've got just your regular Velcroed shoulder pockets. You've got reinforcements on the elbow that's got Velcro. You can slide pads in there if you need to. And then you've got just regular Velcro adjustment on the wrist. Nice quarter zip in front. Similar arrangement to the GI one, that you've got your soft material in the front and in the back. The material, and this is 50-50 Nyco, which I really like. It goes all the way up to the neckline on the shoulders, like this one does, so that your shoulder straps and whatever are wearing on this material and not the body. One difference between the Tru-Spec ones and the GI ones is the body material. The body material on the Massive GI ones is a little bit different kind of material, and you'll forgive me, I'm drawing a mental blank onto what the actual material is that these are made out of. I'd have to go look it up. But on the Tru-Spec ones, Their base material is a Cordura material that is a nylon cotton blend. What this does is it's still really cool, really moisture wicking, but it offers similar fire resistant properties to what the GI one does. And you'll see it on TruSpec's advertising and stuff. It's their no melt, no drip deal. And what it is, even though it's got nylon, it's mixed with the cotton, it makes for really soft material. But when it's hit with flame, it chars and kind of turns to ash and doesn't melt like actual nylon, 100% nylon would, and melt to your skin or whatever. So again, that's kind of a important thing if you're concerned about being around fire or whatever. This one's in multicam, obviously, and it's got a real nice coyote colored base to it. It's a little bit darker color than what the GI one is. The GI one's more kind of a grayish green color. I really like the coyote color on the multicam TruSpec ones. One other thing on these, you can flip the collar up and zip this all the way up on the TruSpec one, and you get a similar effect around your neck to protect it. But one really smart thing that they did, and I give huge props to TruSpec for this, is the same Cordura material that they use on the body and the base, they line the inside of the collar with. So when you've got it flipped up around your neck, you've got the soft moisture wicking material up against your neck and not the somewhat rougher Cordura material, not a Cordura, sorry, Nyko material, which if you've got a sling or a backpack strap or something, rubbing on it for hours at a time, that's a big deal. This is really, really comfortable on your neck and doesn't let it chafe you or anything and cause a lot of irritation. So props to TruSpec on that little small detail. This one is, like I said, multicam. This one is the same shirt. It's the quarter zip from TruSpec, but this is in multicam Tropic. Okay, it's got more of a OD green type base to it. You've got old school woodland, no school like old school. Same thing. You've got Nyko arms, the same Cordura base to it in OD green. It's pretty much the same OD green as like the Tropic has got on it. The nice thing about the TruSpec combat shirts is you can get them. They've got them available in, and I'm sure I'm going to miss some, but I'll try to rattle them off the top of my head. You've got multicam Tropic, multicam Arid, old school woodland. You've got digital woodland, digital desert. You've got all-terrain tiger stripe. They've got it in khaki. They've got it in OD green. They've got it in multicam black. They've got it in solid black. There may be some others I'm missing, but they're really, whatever your preference is for your personal use or your group's use, they've probably got a color available in it. So that said, let me show you one other thing. I don't have one of the TRU Extreme shirts to show you, but what I do have is one of the basic combat shirts that TruSpec does. This one is the basic combat shirt, and as you can see, it's got kind of the mock turtleneck like the GI one does. It's not the quarter zip. This one is in all-terrain tiger stripe. Okay, it's got more of a tan base to it. Same, again, Cordura material. Much like the GI one, it's got zippered pockets on the shoulders. Really easy to get in and out of. You've got cover there for your IR, just like on the GI if you have running IR tags. It's got some reinforcement on the elbow. You can't put elbow pads in these, but it's got a built-in padded area right here. I don't know if you can see that. And then, of course, just your same Velcro closure on the cuff. The one difference on these versus the quarter zip combat shirts is, comes all the way up in the front. In the back, instead of having the seam where the shoulders are cut in and having Cordura, the Cordura base material coming up here, about a third of the way down, they put the actual Nyko material that the sleeves are made out of on this particular combat shirt. It's neither here nor there as far as if it's good or bad. It's just different. If you're running a backpack or something and you've got a lot of rubbing going on right on the top of your shoulders, it could be a good thing. Give you a little bit something more to rub on there. It does have the soft material on the inside underneath right there. So, you know, a little more protection there if that's important to you or not. So that's basically the two different kind of combat shirts that Tru-Spec's got. The quarter zip and then the regular one. Again, I don't have one of the TRU Extreme ones to show you. Sorry about that. These are just the ones that we really like and run. So that's what I got to show you. So that said, think about combat shirts and think about adding one or two into your lineup. You don't have to have, 10 of them to go with every pair of pants you got or whatever. Just have, a couple mixed in that you can rotate out and use at different times for depending on the weather or what you're going to be doing. You can get some, and obviously they've got it in whatever your preference camo pattern is that you're using. You can get it in that. You can even get some of the solid color ones like the OD green one or the black one or the khaki one. I would tend to say kind of avoid the black for what I'm fixing to say and go with either the OD green or the khaki. But if you're keeping a get home bag in your vehicle or whatever, regardless if you're at work or wherever, put one of those solid color combat shirts in there, and that's something that you can change into real quick if you find yourself needing to get home on foot or even in your vehicle, but primarily if you end up having to get home on foot, that you've got something a little bit more comfortable than what you may be normally wearing if you're out at work or wherever, but you can get it in that solid color. So for those of you that are concerned about it drawing unwanted attention, khaki or green with a pair of pants, a pair of jeans or something on, doesn't really draw any attention. From a distance, it doesn't look any different than a tan or green shirt. So don't think that's really a big deal if you're having to actually get home on foot. I don't think drawing attention to yourself is that big of a concern, but that's a discussion for another video. So where to get them at? Lots of places you can get them out there. Find your favorite Tru-Spec dealer for the Tru-Spec shirts. Predator BDU, Predator ACU. We always like to give a shout out to them. Good folks over there that we like buying with. Number of other places. Just like I said, find your favorite dealer and tell them what you want. The GI ones. Obviously, you can go to eBay and find them. Prices on eBay tend to be all over the board. We really like shopping for these at Fort Bragg Surplus. Done a lot of business with Fort Bragg, really like those guys there. We like supporting those small businesses like that. You know the price is going to be the same whenever you go to get it. It's not like shopping on eBay and finding a $50 price difference from one to the next. The stuff that Fort Bragg has got it's usually brand new. If it's not brand new, it may be used, but you can't tell it was used. It looks more like somebody packed it up in their bag and took it somewhere with them, never even put it on. That's how good it looks. So Fort Bragg Surplus for the GI ones. Your favorite Tru-Spec dealer, Predator BDU, Predator ACU for the Tru-Spec ones. One final thought on the Tru-Spec versus the GI ones. The Tru-Spec ones you can typically find in a broader range of sizes available. I know the Tru-Spec ones you can go all the way from small regular all the way up to, you got large long, medium regular, medium large regular. They'll go all the way up to 2X and I believe even 3X for those of you that are more manly men than what I am. The GI ones, I've seen 2X combat shirts, and the GI ones, they're usually not quite as easy to find as the small, medium, and large. So just something to keep in mind in that regards. You may end up having better luck finding your particular size in the true spec ones. So if you got questions, comments, thoughts, I'll put the link up to the thread on our forum that I'm going to post this at. Come weigh in, guys. Get the discussion going. Think about adding a couple of these into your preps with your stuff. And till next time, take care, and we'll talk to you later.